feel like that being that rock for these kids has made a big difference how they are in school and their behavior as well?
I do. I feel like I don't think they would have had a chance if they would have stayed with their parents. I feel I was very strict with them, and that's kind of not fair to me because I've always wanted to be that grandma role. We don't have that role. We have
I
parent
don't get to
roles.
be a grandma, but it's a conflict. It really is, because I'd love to play grandma.
Yeah. And I don't see it, I would never want it any other way. I would never ever I would do it again. I don't regret any decisions that we made to take our grandkids in or my niece. I don't regret none of that. But I wish there was more things out there that was there for us.
Why do you think this is an epidemic? Why is this happening so commonly? And
I think it's the drug. It's the drug
pretty
use
well
of
not so mysteriously following the drug, opioid, and substance abuse patterns, and what's happening with the numbers, because it was eventually a crisis and then became an epidemic. And so of course that's what we're dealing with, is all these kids from these families, and so we feel like this is an emergency that started as a crisis too, but now we're in epidemic numbers, and some numbers aren't even counted because they don't have that in place. And so I think there's so many problems that we're trying to solve. That is the epidemic.
Yeah. Does church play a role in your lives?
I don't go to church. I haven't gone to church.
I used to go to church, and I've gone back and asked for a tiny bit of help here and there, and it's like a fight. So I don't go that route. I've been trying to figure out, well, what then can you do if you don't always have that help for your family or for yourself? And so I think I'm going to have to get brave and keep trying knocking on that door. But we kind of do church at home. Yeah. It's been too hard for me to deal with running around toddler to go to church by myself. And then people have laughed at me, and they come up and they go, "Oh, I remember those days." And it's like, thanks a lot. You didn't run up there and try to help me with that.
Do you rely on God?
Oh, yes. Prayer and God. Oh, yeah. We're praying every day. Yeah. And that's a part of my little one's upbringing. It's going to be, there.
And I think another problem is, I don't know how many times was thrown in my face as I had no rights to my grandkids. When my son and my daughter, my daughter-in-law, when I would try to do something, the first thing they said is, "Go ahead, you don't have no rights to them." They knew. They know. A lot of the addicts know we don't have rights to them. We suck it up. We take what they give us because we're worried about our grandkids. So we just suck it up and take everything that they give us.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you've been that rock there, but do you get your strength from God, or how do you feel? What do you attribute your strength
I believe in God, and I talk to God, but I was also angry with God when I lost my son. So it took me a while to know that my son's probably in a better place. I know he's happy. I know he keeps an eye on his kids, but sometimes I get angry because it's, why did you take him? But then I think about it, and I don't think it would have been too hard for him, so, but I talk to God.
And I mean, the term "it takes a village," it's kind of a overused and trite term, but I think when you have kids, you begin to realize you do need time for yourself. The kids need other relationships. You need to be able to have a lot of the more connections these kids have, and the more people they can trust for real, the better they're going to feel secure as they grow into adulthood. How do you build that in today's society?
I don't know. I'm very I really keep an eye on who they're around, so I'm very picky on who the kids are with.
Well, and she started the nonprofit Grandparents with Open Arms to have these families come together, and we have activities that those kids that are being raised by all these grandparents, the grandparents come together because they're going to stay there while the activities going on. And the kids get to know each other so that they know there's other kids like them.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great.
We're trying to show them that they're not alone, because that's my thing, is we're not alone.
So the village part is what you're working to
Yes,
create.
yeah. We have every 3 times a year we do things together with the grandparents. Thanks for the United Way who lets us use their boardrooms, and we have parties up there. And I mean, we get tons of kids going in there, and they just play with each other. We play games. We also had where we would set up little booths and give the kids prizes, and the grandparents are the ones that were in charge of that. And we've done Christmas, because I believe that if the kids see there's other kids in their situation, that they're okay. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. And the grandparents, because I realize that when you have somebody in the same boat that you are, you could talk about it easier. Because the ones that don't understand it, it's not that they don't want to hear about it. They just don't know how to act about it.
Yeah.
They don't know. They're not have that same thing in common. So it's like they don't know how to approach it.
That's exactly right. We have a lot of friends who don't have kids.
Yeah.
Try to talk to them about it. It's kind of like, whoa, wow.
Yeah.
You got to relate to people who can understand your situation. And so how do you get your funding for your organization?
We go with grants. Me and my husband actually has been paying the rent because we were renting a room at United Way every month. A lot of the funds comes from our pocket to help. We actually got, with the grants that we get, we actually helped a grandmother stay in her apartment. She was going to lose her apartment, and we paid the rent for her to stay there. We've paid for grandparents to, like, if they're behind on our bill or they need to make arrangements for a bill, we would pay for the arrangements that they would have, and then they could take over the bill. We've gotten some of the kids in sports where we've talked to other nonprofits, and they've actually paid for the kids. The other nonprofits paid for the kids to be in sports. We just try to help as much as we can. It gets hard because we don't have that much funds, but a lot of it comes out of mine and my husband's.
And how long
pocket.
have you had the nonprofit?
Since 2021, November 2021. I actually didn't know, like, I really wanted to talk about to grandparents in my yard is what I wanted to do. And so I thought, well, I better call around and see if I could get in trouble for that. So I called, the Better Business Bureau. I called everybody, and they started giving me all these numbers. And I got hooked up with this guy named Sean Buse, and he works for the Weber something. Sorry, son. But anyway, so he helped me, and I went in and I explained to him what I wanted, and he said, "So you want a nonprofit?" And I said, "No, I don't want a nonprofit. I just want to talk to grandparents." And he said, "But you can't do that because, if something happens in your yard, they'll be liable. But it sounds like it'd be a good nonprofit." Well, no, I don't want a nonprofit. I just want to talk to grandparents. By the time I walked out of his office, I was a nonprofit.
Okay.
So I go home and I tell my husband, "Guess what?" And he's like, "Well," I go, "We're a nonprofit and I don't know what the heck I'm doing." And it's just been going. It's 2000.
How many grandparents are now?
We have like about 11 grandparents, maybe,
that are
attending our regular basis, and then
with their kids.
yeah,
It's
we
in
have
North
like
Ogden?
it's in Ogden, and we got like 30 kids that go all the time. I had a teen group, but all 5 of my teens graduated, so I have no more teens. So I'm looking for more kids to do that. And all we did was homework, and then we did activities together, because I wanted the teens to see, because usually it's the ages from 11 to 12. I heard that they have a lot of problems with the kids. So I'm trying to focus on that age so that we get together and we do homework, and then we do activities. And we do it in the office. Like, the boys didn't really care for it because we made a lot of jewelry.
This is like an after school thing?
Yeah, I do. And the boys didn't really care for the jewelry making and that, but the girls really liked it, And then we did an Easter party, and we had all the teens get the eggs and stuff them, and a lot of
So
I'm just trying to figure out.
kids can
Yeah,
go and find the eggs, and the grandparents just hang out and watch.
yeah. And then when we had our Christmas, we had one of our grandpas as a Santa. He was our Santa Claus. So we're trying to. It's just going.
We're doing
So it's
things
just
together
going.
to create that rock that you were asking about. And I met them at the Christmas one this last Christmas. And so since January, I just said, wow, I used to have a nonprofit. I kind of know the ins and outs of things. And she was like, yeah, we're trying to, and I'm like, hey, let me help you. She said, can you be on the board? And I just thought, I don't think I can take another thing. But what I really wanted to do was find funding. And so I'm training along the way as a volunteer and a mother doing all this other stuff, trying to make it to single mother to make funds start coming our way.
Well, I
So
mean, I
making
look at
a lot
like
of
the
grants.
United Way organization. Couldn't you be kind of like a subsidiary to a giant nonprofit like that? Because it seems like what you're doing falls within their mission. Or I don't know.
They're
It's
still
just-
charging us for
Yeah.
the rent,
Really?
and
Yeah.
they're kicking us out this summer.
Well, they're gonna
Just because
remodel.
they're remodeling.
They're remodeling, and they said we could go back after the remodel.
Well, I know a guy.
So
That's what we need to hear from
Very at
people.
the head of United Way.
yeah, and so and they've been good. I mean,
They
they've
have
helped
been
us with a
very
lot of
helpful.
classes. They're really good people. I really liked.
Because
I
of our
liked.
association, I can go and use their grant
Well,
library.
they have
Yeah.
a ton of funding. I know that too.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
And
Yeah,
they
they're-
have people that will help you with these things too. So I've actually taken classes that were offered through United Way,
Yeah,
and
and then 211 put us on their
Yeah.
website, and so I mean they're trying. I don't find any bad in anybody. I'm
Yeah.
just there trying to
No,
help.
it's like the organizations who get the most funding, they're good at that, obviously.
Mhm.
And obviously they've done really good work in the past. But I think there's a lot of organizations that don't get enough funding.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that in the homeless services arena that we've been studying. The in-between needs a lot more funding right now.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you guys, and there's a dozen other really amazing homeless organizations that are way underfunded. And then I find a lot of the money is going to the organizations that are doing a horrible job.
Mm-hmm.
And because
Yeah.
nobody's really checking that. And so, that's a whole nother issue that I think a lot of people need to have a better understanding of.
and we're open to have help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're more than willing to have help. We're actually going to have for the Grandparent Day, the community meals is actually going to put on a big dinner for our grandparents. So
That's
they're going to
awesome.
cook for us, and
Are you gonna open or maybe help other people open more chapters around the state? Because I can see my
Yeah.
parents would love to go to one if there was a Salt Lake chapter.
yeah, we really want to. We really want to make it statewide because we are all Utah. Even though we're in Ogden, we are all Utah. I think it's needed everywhere. This is something that's going on everywhere. And I just feel like the word needs to get out and the grandparents need to start standing up.
Mhm.
We need to stop sitting down. We got to start standing up and saying, hey, these are our grandkids.
Absolutely.
I don't think a state should come in and tell us after 2 years what we do with them.
Mhm. And the thing that I gotta say drives my dad crazy is having these. I don't be careful what I'm gonna say. These people who've never raised children
Mhm.
before, who don't have any experience in telling him how he needs to parent,
Right.
and
Especially a grandparent.
yeah,
I mean,
he's
you're
raised
doing it
3
again.
successful boys plus
Right.
was instrumental in a grandkid and now another one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean,
exactly.
you got to take this class, that class, go here, that, and you're not doing that. You're not doing a good job.
Right.
And-
Well, I
and
went.
it's like,
I went-
Really, the kid's getting straight A's.
Yep.
And before he wasn't.
I went to class that was told that I had to go to, and I barely got my granddaughter, and she had a hard time. She was 5 years old when she got taken away, and so she had a lot of abandonment issues. And when I went into the class, I was told, which I understand, there was other people there. She couldn't be in that class with me. They wanted her in a different room, but she kept coming back. And they told me, they said, well, she needs to go back in there, and I would take her back. And I'm just right here because I'm her safe place.
Mhm.
So I wound up taking her back, and she tore apart the room. And I mean, tore apart the room. I was so embarrassed. So I went out there, and there's the 2 adults that's supposed to be watching her, and 2 other poor little kids there with their fingers in their mouth, scared, and my granddaughter looking like the Hulk in the corner. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. So I go and I start helping her clean and stuff. And they take me out of the office, and they said to me, when she gets better, then maybe you could come back. That should have never been told to me. And I didn't go. And that's another reason why I thought the nonprofit, the Grandparents with Open Arms, would be something, because we find resources. We try to find help. I should have never have been told.
Grassroots. You're not top down looking in
Yeah.
as a bureaucracy. Oh, this needs to be done. That needs to be done. And you're
We're not
grassroots.
dictating. We're asking for all of the people that are members in this group that are associating. Let's band together and help each other.
Yeah, because we want to start a like babysitting daycare
We
with
have all
each
kinds
other.
of different programs that we're
We're trying to do a respite care for the grandparents. Yeah, we're trying to come up with all these things and trying to figure them out on a budget that might not be possible, but we're gonna
still
figure it
how
out.
do people donate to you guys? Because everybody watching, I think, should donate to your organization.
They could go on our website, and we have because we do have a website,
Grandparents with
Open Arms.
openarms.com.
Yeah, and they have the donation up there.
Great. Yeah. Well, I think what you're doing is awesome. I mean, I commend you guys. You're obviously the salt of the earth, preserving society. And I just see it like without responsible adults who can be rocks for kids, be that place that they can feel secure, everything would crumble apart.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's the next generation. If we need to break a cycle, we need to start with these kids. And, you know.
And the government can never replace
Yep.
or substitute for great parents. That's the key message I've learned in the last 4 years of our foster care experiences. You know, a lot of people might think that they know what's best for kids and this rule is great, this psychological idea or set of classes. No, it's just somebody being there constantly available for kids.
Yep. Like what my grandson said, you know, people tell him what to do constantly. If we listen to them, maybe we won't be having the problems that we're having.
By the way, we have a name for the respite program. It's a 5-part initiative, and it's called Voice and Choice. And the voice is not only for the grandparents, but it's for the children to have that voice. And choice we don't have, so we're trying to find the choices that we can offer.
I hope that everybody goes and donates to you guys and gets involved, because I know a lot. I mean, that's 17,000 grandparents in Utah. They should all be banding together and doing what you're doing. So thanks so much for coming on, guys.
Okay.
And I really appreciate you reaching out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If you want to be a bigger part of Utah Stories, go to utahstories.com, subscribe to our free digital newsletter, and we send it out once a week. Or if you want to help support our journalism, you can become a member for $5 a month or subscribe to the magazine. That's all by visiting utahstories.com. Share, like, and subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching.